Jason and Chris. Half a day, Guam.
Good morning.
How are you?
We're Tuesdaying.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that I learned about I guess the COVID condition and some things to watch out for. Do you mind if I share that? I actually had a family member recently who was tested positive for COVID, quite a young person, and actually ended up having to be hospitalized. And one thing that, where was shared with me with regards to, people who are COVID positive, and as you watch your, I guess, how you feel, is to watch your oxygen levels. And so, and I'd actually shared this after I learned about it. I shared it with some of my family, even in the States also, and some of the people that I knew who had tested positive locally. But it's to watch your oxygen levels. And, I'm not from public health, but what I was advised of was that, if your oxygen levels hit about 90%, that you really need to get to the hospital. And so one of the items that, probably at this time we should be adding to our home first aid kits is an oximeter. And I believe you could get them at pharmacies or you could get it on Amazon.com. But I wanted to share that because I think that that's something that's not widely, known. The oximeter, yes, Jason was point. It's that little contraption when you go to your doctor's office and they put it on your finger, it like clamps onto your finger, and you could see your oxygen levels. And, I think it's something that's simple that you could purchase and doesn't cost a whole lot of money, but probably for people now is something that's important to maybe invest in that, could help save lives. So I've actually shared this information with some people I know. Two of them were actually admitted after I shared that with them. So
Wow.
I wanted to share that with you, because I thought that was important information.
Thank you. Now I feel like we got to take a break, and I got to go run out and get an oximeter. You're making me paranoid, Daph.
No, I mean, not to make anybody paranoid, but I know, most especially for people who test positive and when you don't feel well and you're wondering, I actually was on the phone with somebody a few weeks ago and they were like, do I go to the hospital? Do I need to get into call the ambulance? What do I do? And good thing they did have an oximeter with them. They were able to check their oxygen levels. Their oxygen levels was actually below 90. Wow. So, they went straight to the hospital and they were admitted. So again, I know, Lillian for Posadas from GMH, and I know our public health people, definitely provide a lot of information, but these little tidbits of information for lay people like me really help, because I don't know, for our family and friends who may be suffering and not know what to look out for, that 90% was something that I shared with a few people. And like I said, the two people that I shared with who are family and friends, they actually ended up getting admitted, one person here locally and one person stateside. So I thought, that might be good information to share with our listeners, just some practical information, just like the 15 minutes and the 6 feet, for, again, lay people like me, that's something that I thought was good to share. It's easy to remember. And, again, where we think that we might not be able to check our oxygen levels because we're not doctors and we don't have all the equipment. Actually, I was advised you could get those little oximeters at the pharmacies down the street.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Rev Tax, but I always
fine.
appreciate.
Thank you. I know you care.
No, and again, on the practical side, from a layperson, I hope that this is able to help people, because it did actually help a couple people that I know. Right.
Yeah, and that's one of the things they tell you to look out for when you are COVID positive is shortness of breath. I mean, that's the one where it could just turn you so quick and land you in the hospital.
Right.
So good advice, Daphne.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so now to go to Rev Tax.
Anyway.
No, again, this public health emergency with 90 people dying, and even I think when you Google the case rates across the nation, I know that Guam is high up there. So any bit of information we could get to our community that people will be able to understand easily is going to be helpful. Right. But with regards to Rev Tax news, as you know, we've been processing Adudi and Mingafa payments or applications. We did 2 weeks ago pay out a little bit over $170,000 to our people, and we did not process payments last week. We're targeting to process payments this week. That $170,000 in payments was for about 300 applications. as of last week, we'd received a little bit over 1,100 applications. And I'm happy to say that about 65% of those applications were actually submitted online. And so we had over 700 people actually get online and file. So, I really highly suggest that for those individuals who have not yet filed, the deadline is November 12th. That's just 2 days from now. There is no extension on that deadline. That deadline is set by the law. So if you qualify, meaning that you have a dependent child who is ages 17 to 23 and in college, or if you have a disabled dependent of any age, then those are the basic qualifying criteria. Of course, in addition to the fact that you did not already receive an EIP payment. So at Judy Mangufo, we're going to continue to process. We actually, by law, have until March 31 to 2020 to pay those out, but we're doing our best to try to pay them out as soon as possible, and we're going to continue to process. Again, we've had about 1,100 applications for that, and I want to say kudos to our team for working on that. Especially during this public health emergency, in addition to everything else we're trying to work on.
Right, we're getting a lot of comments here, Daph, about the phones and people wanting to make appointments for vehicle transfers. Been trying to make an appointment or by email or calling for the last 3 weeks. What's the deal with that? Is it just you guys are just flooded with people?
It's and actually before I talk with you guys, I try to write up the different topics that I think are very important to hit on, and that was actually my number 3 item. I know there's a lot of people, people who I know as well, friends and family, who have been trying to contact us by email and by phone. I know it's been challenging. We've actually had to add more people to the email I guess to be recipients for certain email addresses, the general ones, so that there's not just one person, because the volume of emails that we get has been very high. We've also been trying to monitor our phone calls as much as possible and allocate, people to in our different areas to be answering the phones, but I do know it's challenging. I try calling myself as well to just, to check to see how things are going. But we're doing our best. I also, when people are not able to get one branch, they may call another. And all of our branches are really working hard to try to answer phones and emails. I know it's been challenging, but that's something we're working to address. I'm hoping that even in the last week or so that people have seen some improvement, because we've actually, again, we're working to deliberately, make sure that we're constantly monitoring the phones. Sometimes what happens is, and we may be on a phone call when the phones are ringing, and people may actually hear it, that the phones behind us are ringing as we're on the phone. But we're continuing to try. It's not perfect, and we're doing our best to also find alternative solutions to being able to make sure that we get to those calls and emails as soon as possible. But if you have emailed, I know if you could, and you haven't heard back in a few days, I do suggest you go ahead and email again. I've actually heard from people who have emailed a few times, and again, we do try to get to you as soon as possible.
How many people do you have assigned answering the phones?
Well, we have about 20 branches, Sabrina, and in each of our branches, we actually have people who are assigned to answer phones. So like in director's office, we have, and actually if you look at our volumes, and also if you get onto our website, you'll see what our phone numbers are. So, driver's license has, I believe, a couple of people that are assigned, because they're kind of a large volume, they get a large volume of calls. I know vehicle registration also has people who are assigned. So each of our branches does try to allocate, at least one person who's either by the phone or trying to answer, and as well as the same time service. As you know, we do still operate by appointment. So we're still servicing customers, although not by walk-in, but we still have, quite a few people who are coming into our office. The other day I was calling the team, and they also couldn't answer me because of, we had several appointments, yesterday. So it is challenging even at times for me to get through. But, I think in terms of, trying to get back to people, we are doing our best, and we're going to continue to improve. We have some ideas about how we can, perhaps allocate more people to perhaps be just dedicated to answering the phones. Our call center actually, people, they actually don't just serve as call center, they have dual purposes. So it's not like we're able to just dedicate people, but we're working on a potential solution, and I hope to get that launched. And if we're able to get some of the equipment that we need, we'll hopefully be able to launch that within the next few weeks. So that's something exciting. I know my team has been following up with me, and also I've been working with the Office of Technology to identify some equipment so that we can, perhaps in a different area in our building or in a different site, work to have people who are just dedicated to answering phones. And so that's something that we're looking forward to in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Everyone's asking what's the magic phone number. There's always that one, when you call GovGuam agency, there's always that one number that works. Is there a one number, Daph, or do they just check the website?
Our director's office is 635-1779. Of course, we always give our customer center numbers, which is 635-1809, 1-840-41-4257. All of our numbers are active that we're giving to the public. Again, sometimes it's just difficult for us to get to them. And we do understand, and frankly, I want to just say thank you, of course, to the community, because, for being patient, but, as well, we are trying. And, if you could just, continue to call and send emails, we'll do our best to get back to you. I know it's challenging. I know so many people are, in need of the services that we have. And so, we're going to thank everybody for continuing to be patient and persistent so that we can also work to help you.
We had another comment, Daph, about the tax. When will our tax be released? My family needs it. I know many others can relate. That's from Emmy.
Okay, so in terms of income tax refunds, we did make large payment of income tax refunds, I think, a few weeks ago. In October 15 or around that time, so that way we could pay through the April 15th deadline. And we're continuing to pay refunds on a weekly basis. So, I think in terms of refund payments, we've been pretty consistent in working to get those out. And of course, as you know, our team has been working to make sure we process refunds so that we could get them out to our people as soon as possible. So, you can always check our website for the status of our refunds. If you have a question because you have not received a refund, but you think you should have, then again, if you could contact us either by email at pinadmin@revtax.guam.gov or by phone, if you're able to contact us, 635-1840-414257 and 09.
We do have someone on here asking about messages that they leave. Has anybody checked the messages? And because some people have still been waiting for a response.
Yes, and thanks so much, Sabrina, for that question, because you know what, especially as we've been receiving a lot of reports about, issues with calls and also our voicemails boxes getting full. We've revisited that and made sure that people know how to access voicemails and that we're checking them and clearing them. That's something that, our team, we've talked about, and we're trying to do our best to make sure we get back to. And so, yes, our voicemail messages, if some of our phones are not capable, or the voicemail is not set up, but for those that are set up, they should be fine to leave a message, and our team should be checking those.
What about the EIP stimulus? I know that when we had you on, it was a previous time, you said that you guys had until December to finish paying that out?
Right. So how the EIP works is what people are receiving right now is an advance on a credit. So for those people who have filed their income tax returns, their Forms 1040 already, and their Forms EIP and F, those are, it's an advance credit, so you're receiving in advance of filing a return. And so the advance credit you will be able to get until December 31. But for the advance credit, we do have a deadline for the EIP non-filers. You have to file your tax return by November 21. Your EIP form by November 21. For those filers who filed by the due date or the extended due date, which is October 15, that's the deadline for the forms 1040. So if you filed your 1040 by October 15 and you qualify, or your EIP NF form by November 21 and you're eligible, then we're working to make payments on those forms by December 31. For people who may not have qualified for some reason, or maybe didn't file their return, but qualify with their 2020 return, they'll be able to get that when they file their 2020 return. So, even if you don't receive your EIP payment in 2020, if you qualify when you file your 2020 return and it's in 2021, you'll be able to get that credit on your return, which is different again now because we're doing it as an advance. As of last week, we've paid out over 82,000 EIP program payments, and that's about $144 million. And so we're at about 96% of the monies that we've received from the U.S. Treasury of about 150 million. That's how much has been paid out so far. And again, we're going to continue to pay these out through the end of the year for the advance portion. And then when we get into 2021, for those people who file their 2020 tax returns, they'll also be able to avail of and receive the benefit if they've not already done so.
Kind of a random question, Daph, but I got a WhatsApp. Does Rev Tax garnish people's paychecks for taxes owed?
We garnish paychecks? Actually, to explain how the garnishments that work, we garnish tax refunds for, of course, for GMH bills, the outstanding bills, and also for child support. Those files we receive from the AG's office, and we don't even know who is on the list or who's on the file. That's actually completely dictated by the agency. And again, for GMH outstanding bills and for child support, we receive the files from the agency. Those get uploaded when we do a check run, and then the garnishments are done. So in terms of the garnishments, if they're referring to garnishments of refunds, yes, those are done and those are allowed by law.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What else did you want to update us on, Daph? I feel like you had some things written down.
No, well, so you know what, I just, again, want to just say thank you to all of you. I know we've been working on, some of probably the most problem area that we have, or the highest volume of calls that we get is for driver's license. We're doing our best to address the issue of driver's license. We suggest and highly recommend for people to please work to renew their driver's licenses through mail as much as possible. We do have a form for that. You can renew or get a replacement by mail. You can also get your permit. If you passed your written exam, you could get your permit by mail. You can also convert your intermediate to full license by mail. And so we're really highly recommending that. And also back in September, we began to receive new applications for business licenses. This is the first time that we're, that during, I guess, like a PCOR 1 situation that we were doing so, and we're working to try to get out new business licenses, because even during this public health emergency, there actually have been people who are trying to open up businesses. We're working to try to refine that process. It's been taking a bit of time, but I can assure the public and the community that DRT is going to work to process those. I'm following it very closely. We've actually issued some new business licenses, I'm proud to say, during this public health emergency. Wow. And even during the time that we're not open to the public for walk-in services. So, we're going to continue to strive to serve our community the best that we can, and we're continuing to revisit our services to identify those areas where we can make improvements, because, obviously, I believe that, we're just going to have to learn how to live with this new normal, right, and try to figure out how to be as functional as possible while weighing out the health and safety of our people.
I had another WhatsApp. Why is Rev Tax assessing late fees for filing of business license renewal when the delay is on the part of DRT?
Okay, so if there's an assessment of a late fee, and as you know, we have issued our volumes 1 through 8. We haven't issued another volume in a while because we continue to be in the same PCOR level status for about a month or so. So if there is a late fee and you believe that the late fee is due to the public health emergency, then that's something that can be worked in terms of consideration. That's something that can be given, but you'll have to provide your request and advise We did provide deadlines though, so for those individuals who may not have met a deadline, that perhaps could be the reason, but I don't know that specific person's situation. So, I highly suggest that they contact our team and that they discuss that with them. Because again, it's difficult to say without knowing that specific person's situation, but as long as they met the deadlines as indicated in our volumes, they should be fine. And if not, then that's something, of course, that, we can work to discuss so we can, again, our charge is collections and enforcement, but of course, we recognize the need, most especially at this time, for compassion for our people, and we're trying to balance that out as we work to make sure that we follow our mandates.
Well, thank you, Dafne, for your time.
Just saying thanks.
Yeah.
Hagumas, Sijos Masi, thank you so much, Sabrina and Chris and Jason. It's always such a pleasure to have the opportunity to be with you guys. So have a great day.
You too. Actually, we have, I'm sorry, because it's my week to make the virtual snacks for the Zoom room. And I have,
see where this goes.
I have virtual mana tatijas, and I have individual packets of butter. So if you want to take some of the butter, please do. Okay.
Well, you know what? As long as it's like 0 calories, I'm fine with taking it.
Well,
and
it's virtual.
Delicious.
Yeah,
so.
it's virtual. It's low to no calories.
Actually,
Yeah,
Daph, I got a
perfect.
question for you because Chris made virtual mana tatijas. I would have just bet money, and I'm not a wagering guy, but I see you as like a corn tatijas person. Are you more team corn, team flour, or team mana?
Okay, so my mom and my aunt always would make mana tatijas, so I'm very impartial. I'm partial to mana, and with lots of butter.
Yeah.
So, I'm from the South. We like our mana. We like our coconut.
Yep.
I'm an island girl.
Good call, Chris.
Sorry, we didn't grow corn in Maritzo.
Well, we take care of our friends here on the link, and happy to make your day that way.
Thanks,
so I'm
Daphne.
looking forward to actually having the actual non-virtual version from Chris one day.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll take care of you.
Esther.
Bye.
Have a
Take
great day.
care. I'm gonna go get my oximeter today.
Yes. that was a really good tip, Ira. And